Okay, and everything kind of changed with stuff. Okay, yeah, it seems to be working. Anyways, hello and welcome to waifu, the talk show where we take monster girls of all shapes, sizes, species, and whatnot, where we can discuss what they're made of, what they do, and yeah. Well, I'm Scamper Blaze, the guy at the bottom left is Blackout, and the guy that's hanging from the ceiling of the screen is Stitch. Which is already more than we're used to from him lately. Last week's episode we redid one of our very first talks, the automatons and golems. And the thing that we're fixing this week is slime girls. Just making sure. And we will not take responsibility for any lost brain cells. Yes! And this will be at your own risk. So, where shall we start with our sticky subject of the week? Unless you really are into texture. Yep. Keep pressing the wrong button. You go ahead. What your input is on here? Uh-huh. Could you elaborate on that viewpoint, Stitch? Okay, so while starfish I do think is a decent example, octopuses definitely have more of a structure and established nervous system. the first thing I actually do think that we need to establish is their solidity. Like, are they like actually liquid, or is it more like comparable to a snail or an amoeba with with like a decent sturdy membrane? Okay, that is... Okay, non-Newtonian fluid does make sense. I actually have a other argument as to why they would have a humanoid shape. Mimicry. To elaborate on why I went... sorry, what did you say, Blackout? Okay, so there is... mimicry can both be seen as a cultural thing, but also a biological thing. There are many animals that have evolved to look like other creatures for multiple reasons. This can either be for protection. For example, there are insects that look like wasps, but aren't either as ferocious or potentially venomous. So, a explanation as to why they would have a humanoid shape is that they would be mostly found near human settlements, and they would kind of see, oh, this is the apex species. If I look like this, maybe things that hunt me won't hunt me because I am big human. Oh. Hmm? I'm just trying to explain why they would have a humanoid shape. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, but do slimes know that? Yeah. Yeah. I would love to be like a centaur build, but then I wouldn't be able to put on like comfortable pants. I can see the jumping with the structure. The running parts, I don't really agree with. Yeah, I can see the logic when it comes to jumping with that structure, but back to the slimes. What I do think is definitely important, like the golems, they would definitely have like a core. Yeah. Okay. That's the question I asked earlier, and Blackout wants to either go fully liquid or non-Newtonian fluid. Yeah. No, it is an important... Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. That's true, but he did say which one would be more plausible, so he did use the correct phrasing there. Yeah. So, like usual, I do think there could be like a spectrum. Actually, Okay. Since if we're gonna assume they are slime girls because of mimicry, then like the feral form would indeed be just slimes. I also think it might be like a health thing. The healthier they are, the better they are at preventing spilling themselves. So, something I can definitely imagine if we are we all okay with establishing at least the core of the slimes? Yeah, just making sure because I do have something to build upon that if all of us agree with that. Yeah, like if we put all the important organs, then a core would just function. What I can imagine is that what a slime actually would be is multiple nerve tendrils controlling the mucus it secretes. Ah. Okay, but that isn't really stem cells. Yeah, it would. Non-Newtonian fluid is a good way to refer to it because the higher the impact, the more dense the mucus would pack, making it more solid. That's why I was suggesting like nerve tendrils. Like if you were to remove the core from the slime, you would be able to see them, but in it you would not be able to see the tendrils because they would blend with the slime itself. With those nerve tendrils, you would be able to send like little signals to, I want the slime to form like this, or I would like it to form like that. Like the organ, since you, okay, I think I had two arguments that were kind of blending together, so now I kind of have to split them apart for it to make sense, because it was kind of jumbled mess. Like, wait, no, okay. I am gonna actually use the octopus example. You know how they can alter their texture of their skin to a very high degree? That is also not done by stem cells, that is done by special glands and very precise muscle control. So, yes, so while it isn't muscle control, it still makes sense if you send like a signal for the mucus to either compact, stretch out, soften, harden. That is something that makes a lot of sense. Yes. What I'm trying to make. Okay, I'm trying to think of it in a good wording that makes plausible sense. Okay. Since if it's a non-Newtonian fluid, it doesn't really have to like melt. And what I'm honestly just imagining is like, okay, I think a scientific approach would be a better way to describe this. You know that with electrolysis, if you put like 2 nails in a solution, certain metals would gather around one of the charges, either the positive or the negative, depending on the molecules you're trying to collect, correct? Yeah. If you think it like that, like if it sends a signal to a certain area, more mucus would form around that bit to cause it to become denser. So, oh, go ahead. Ah, no. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The core. That's why I also suggested that the mucus was secreted by those nerve tendrils. Oh, is it kind of like how, okay, for example, plants are able to convert nutrients for both the soil and the sunlight into biomass. Yep. Yeah. In that case, I do think that's... Yeah, what I imagine is that if you were to sever, let's say, an arm, the tendrils would need to grow back to an acceptable length before it can form another arm. So, I do think there will be regeneration, just not like instant if you were to sever one of those tendrils. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I would compare it to potentially like a salamander or something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like, we're not dealing with like Wolverine levels of healing factor here. No, not even that level, because that is like... Rimuru is just negating damage and like... Yeah, it's not that level. Yeah. Okay. A decent example is kinda like... Specifically, movie 1 Deadpool. Like, when he got split in half, it took a bit for his legs to regrow, right? That is more akin to what I can expect. That's why you brought up the what? Okay, that part... they are actually regenerating due to something akin to stem cells. Okay. That part I'm gonna say no to, because what stem cells are just blank slates that are used to immediately assign a function to. So if it's part of the mucus that is also their like first line of defense, that is not gonna work well, and it's also very inefficient when it comes to nutrients. Yeah, it's it's honestly more like a starfish's generation. Yeah. I'm Okay, so normally in scenarios like this, we kind of rule like if they can, they probably would, but it does make sense that certain groups would just grow into having it in one specific location, like how cuckoos have grown to make eggs just like the nest that they were parasiting in. Yeah. Yeah. Def. Wait, are we gonna do like in the biocenter or like center of gravity? Yeah, that does make sense. That way they wouldn't have to uh, get like uneven growth. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would say yeah. No, no. Let's hear what you wanted to say. Oh, okay. Sensory. That is a good point that I just kind of wanted to tackle later, but we could do that right now. Uh, yeah. What I think is, uh, since we are currently talking about regeneration, what I think is their priority of, let's say they get wounded or damaged, their priority would be definitely the area around the core first, the head because of mimicry reasons, the arms for utility reasons, Okay. That is fair, because if they're predators, they're definitely gonna be ambush hunters. Yeah. They can still just absorb things by just walking into them. Yeah, you know what? I'm willing to concede defeat on that one. Yeah, legs before arms. I'm just imagining more like either like a Lamia, like either slithering, or like Rosie the Robot from the Jetsons. Ambush hunter. Yeah, I'm just saying, I said if they hunt, they definitely were going to be ambush predators. Yeah. Alright, so since we have talked about regeneration, let's actually dive into the senses. Smell. I kinda do. At least. So since those do we are gonna have a name for those nerve tendrils? Okay, but since they are definitely gonna be filled with nerves for sensory, because they would feel if something were to touch the slime, or if they were to, if some of those tendrils were to go outside of the slime casing, they definitely could be able to be used to taste the air. Oh, yeah. Okay. No worries. I'm just curious where you're going with this. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. But would it... Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna indeed then go for a compromise. It's not always active, but they could get some of those nerve tendrils out to taste the air like snakes do. Yeah. Yeah. I think it would be something like they would have to do by choice, by getting some of those nerves out their slime case. So if it works like how a snake does it, then I'm willing to kind of give up with fighting for smell. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Yes, and since like I was like with sharks. Oh wait, yeah, platypuses also have that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Ah. Okay. Yeah, that would also explain why they aren't like perfect copies of human shape, just vaguely similar. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah. Honestly, if I wasn't gonna say snails necessarily, I was more gonna compare to like mussels or clams. Like, I actually also was planning on just sacrificing the sense of sight for what you basically described there, Blackout. But uh, that does actually bring up a different point I was gonna think about. If they are lacking color, they can't really use like active camouflage, like how a gelatinous cube is basically so clear that it pretends to be like an empty hallway. Hmm? The writers of D&D. But yeah, so I'm gonna say that color is definitely gonna at least be based around uh, habitat. If they live in like a sewage system, the algae probably would turn them either greenish. If there's a lot of rust in there, probably more of a reddish, brownish color. Yeah. Okay, what else do we really need to talk about with biology right now? We've talked. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they are non-Newtonian fluids, so air vibrations would be something they could easily sense. Touch is basically just the ripples in their own slime. Like if something touches the slime, a wave would go to the tendrils, and they would notice like, ah. Okay. Uh, since we did mention nutrients a couple times, yeah, how are we making them eat? Because what I can imagine is once again with the signals sent by the nerve tendrils to up the acidity of said slime when they have something. Uh, okay. Okay, yeah, makes sense so far. Okay. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Calories. Okay. Okay. I can see where you're going with. Yes. I can see where he's coming from. Yeah. Yeah, like, I can see where you're coming from, but I would think that slime girls would mainly be scavengers. Sure, they would be able to climb a tree, and if they taste the air and find fruit, sure, they would eat it. But yeah, so while they definitely would be great at finding fruit, I'm agreeing with you there, Stitch. It's the specialized arm that is probably giving them too much credit. If they taste the air, they could probably more easily climb up instead of stretch out their arm. But yeah, a fruit-based diet would kind of make sense. Because if they rot, they kind of ferment and makes it easier to digest. You won't... If, yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying, it's easier to digest in that case. Because it gets mushy and such. Yeah. Moss, sewage. Yeah. I do think that there could be like a proper variations. The ones that live outside will definitely get more in contact with direct sunlight, so their diet definitely needs more stuff that could hydrate them so they don't dry out. So fruits do make sense there. Direct sunlight, open air. I'm just saying, when they are outside, they just are more likely to get in contact with that. They need to get there somehow. No, I'm just saying it makes sense for the ones outside to eat more fruit because those are way more rich in fluids and such. I know, I'm not saying they have to, but I'm just saying, scientifically speaking, if you are even a non-Newtonian fluid, if you get in contact with either a lot of open air or a lot of direct sunlight, chemistry will happen and so will evaporation. Slime. Yeah. Uh, and something I was gonna say, but then we kind of sidetracked from my train of thought. The ones that would live in like either cave, mostly in cave systems, human settlements and sewage systems, would definitely be more acidic, so they would have stronger digestive powers. Reproduction. I can imagine it's kind of working like sea slugs. Okay, so how I actually can imagine it is, if we look at them like unable to blend with other species, then the combat style of a sea slug would kind of fit. Like, they just kind of blend together, of course, approach each other, and then they try to inject the others with genetic material. And then just produce either like an egg or just an additional core that later will split off to form their own slime. Yeah. Yeah. Hermaphrodite is the word you're looking for, Stitch. So that also kind of explains if their age. I also have an excuse as to why they would mainly have the female form. Because they are mimicry, they do have to have a certain form of learning capability. And if they see that basically females are treated with more like reverence, they would just mimic that. Okay. But I did say if we just exclude interracial breeding, if we include, how likely would that be for slimes, that they're able to blend with other species? Or... So you're saying that they could potentially be inseminated by like humans, centaurs, whatever has male genitalia. You know what? Sometimes we don't have to make it more complex. Adding goop equals fresh goop. Got it. Yeah. No, like I said, I can see the simplicity in it. I can see the logic in it. I'm like, okay, fair enough. All right. Okay. There's actually something that I am thinking about. Since we're mainly gonna make them scavengers. That's what I'm saying. It definitely would make sense that some would prefer to be either carnivorous or more vegetarian. How do you think would be the most efficient for them to obtain animal proteins? No, I'm talking about like way of hunting. What do you think would be the best for them? Because I can see two things. Okay. Yeah. Oh! Thanks for the minis, Jobs. Can that work? And just want to see. I wish you as well. Thanks, man. Hope you have a good shift. So, I actually can see two ways of hunting if they do it with purpose. Because, yes, stumbling upon a dead body makes sense. That is the easy way. But if we're gonna make them a little bit more active, I can think of two ways. One is honestly the stereotypical, oh, but you didn't look up. From the top rope! And the other one is mostly the ones that live in like dark places. Just lay there on the floor and wait for something to step on you. Yeah. Naruto. Yeah. I mean, because of the non-Newtonian fluid, the core probably wouldn't get damaged because of the impact. Yeah, inertia is gonna be a pain. Sometimes you just gotta choke a bitch out. Yeah, yeah, wait, how dense are we gonna make it? Like, if you were to get past the membrane, would you be able to, like, how do you think the texture of the slime would feel if you were enveloped in it? Okay, but do you think it's more like, fully enveloped when you're, like, in the water, or do you think it's more like when you're kneading a dough? Okay. I actually expected it's gonna be a bit more like dough. You know what? Yeah, we could actually do both. That the exterior works like doughy resistance with, like, if you squish it, you don't just go sink in, able to touch your own fingers, but if you're in, you could probably just wiggle how you like. Oh, actually something that we... I was just kind of talking about the texture, and we kind of settled on the exterior kind of feels like dough, so when you squeeze it, you can't, like, have your fingers touch each other. There's just going to be some dough between it, but if you're, like, absorbed by it, then it's more like in water. Probably a liquid that's more resistant, but fully enveloped. Honestly, I'm gonna go with honey. Yes, and... yeah. That is a shame, because I kind of like the image of that, but it does make sense that they just kind of lay there. Like, wait, if something does step on them, how fast are they able to, like, act and react to it? Uh-huh. That's why I specifically said, like, the ones that live in, like, darkness. For the slime girls or for the things that get trapped? Yeah, but how fast are they, like, with grabbing? Like, there are some slow creatures that have, like, surprisingly fast movement. Like, a chameleon can just shoot their tongue pretty fast. A snapping turtle just... Absolutely, I can agree with that. Okay. Unless unless it's dead. Okay, yeah. That is fair. Okay, yeah. I can agree with that. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, what did you say, Stitch? It can be in both. Right now I was just going for reaction speed. But... But definitely something you would be able to see with your naked eye. Yeah. Oh, actually something that I think we should talk about in the biology part. Are they able to produce sounds? Because I think no. Stitch? Uh, okay. Okay, so how our voices work, yes, we do have to put a hole... Sorry, we have to put air through a hole, but it is not the hole itself that causes the sound, it is the two flaps that close it off. And I don't think... Well, the lungs provide the air current. Yeah, I don't think they would have the way to actively, in a longer method like we do for producing sentences, I don't think they would be able to hold enough air for like long words or the control to basically make a pseudo-larynx. I can imagine whistling, though. Yeah. Honestly, that is just inhaling like an air bubble and then just squeezing it out through a tiny hole. Yeah. Communication. Okay. Okay, that is actually something we can talk about in the culture section. But I'm just saying the sounds I think they can make is like whistling notes. Definitely like prattling notes, like. Yeah. Realistically speaking, yeah, I can easily imagine fart sounds. Yeah. Okay, I think it is time for us to move on to the culture section. Unless you have something more. Yeah. 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 Smooth, repellent, absorbent. Yeah. Okay, so I do think they are able to filter, like have like a quote unquote membrane or a density based on their health. So the healthier they are, the more quote unquote solid they can be. So basically, either a young or a weak slash sick slime girl would probably be more comparable to like a muck that just keeps going plop plop, while a fully healthy one, I'm gonna imagine is more like a Gudra. Like I don't think it's like snap of the finger, but I do think they can alter their appearance at will. Just not as fast as, for example, Mystique. Yeah, I'm not saying shapeshifting. I'm just saying altering design. Like perhaps they want to look a little longer. Perhaps they want to look a little thicker, thinner, stuff like that. Yeah. I'm just saying they would have access to like proportion sliders. Not Mr. Fantastic levels. Because there is the... Yeah. They don't have infinite slime. We are actually using the laws of matter conversion here. Conservation of mass, thank you. Yeah. The best I can describe is like in... Okay, so you're playing like Fallout 4 character creation. Just the slider of like buff, fat, skinny. Like just the proportion sliders. Like breasts are now big, breasts are now small. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, actually, a specific trope that I wanted to talk about, but Stitch wasn't here. Okay, you know how in anime, games, whatnot, there are so many different varieties of slimes. How varied are we gonna make ours? Like, are some gonna be more like metallic? Are some gonna be like just fuming with... Okay. Okay, because they are more focused on mimicry. Okay. I mean, it would be it would actually be an evolutionary pathway for both, because mimicry is something that can be grown throughout generations. So yeah, I'm okay with having that as a distinction between them. All right. in that case, I do think that when it comes to culture, we're mostly going to be looking at the domesticated ones, right? Okay, fair enough. No. Yeah. Oh, sure. So they would be more like solitary, is what you're saying? Yeah. I do think, like, not full solitary. I think they live in, like, small batches of, like, 5, 4. Yeah, who is the breeding slut? I said slut with an O, by the way. Yeah. I mean, yeah, honestly, if they are scavengers, even if they don't really have like big groups, they are actually benefits to at least having a couple members of your species at least nearby, besides appropriation, because, well, awareness. If one of them senses like a predator, it could signal the others quite easily. Like, I'm okay with like smaller groups, but not like completely solitary, since they don't really have the ecological power to be on their own. I mean, they are corrosive and acidic. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm just saying, ecologically speaking, for and based on their survival instincts, small groups makes the most sense. Yeah. Yeah, and that is also the number I was going for. Like, just a small number. It was slightly intended. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm also okay with making it, once again, exclusive to, like, family units. No. I don't... Like... Yeah, I was fighting just for survival instinct and efficiency, but... Yeah, I don't really see a hierarchy in the feral ones, at least. Yeah. Yeah, because they aren't very high on the food chain, so... Alright. I think it's gonna be a little bit more aggressive, like... Well, of course, they first have to, like, fully envelop you to kind of start making the acid, but... Yeah. Yeah. Pineapples, if you leave it too long in your mouth, it will eat you. Yeah, pineapples are pretty acidic when it comes to the substance of flesh. Yeah. Yeah, we're not even fucking with you. If you keep pineapple in your mouth, there's a chance that some of your flesh will kind of corrode a little bit. Once again, an example of humans giving the middle finger to evolution. Ah, yes, I have produced a chemical that that actually causes pain in the ether. No one shall eat me. Mmm, spicy. Yeah, or just like the fugu pufferfish. Like, I have perfected the perfect venom. No one shall mess with me. Domo arigato, Mr. Fish. Like, another example, wasabi. We are the pinnacle of the evolution when it comes to fuck around and find out. And now we will fuck around with something else. Yeah. Catgirl Supreme. Hello there, Otarnell. Last time we talked about catgirls, we have decided that they are British invasive species. But yeah, we did kind of rate catgirls to be in the top tier. Oh, since I brought up them being British, while I can definitely see them being everywhere where humans are, even the feral ones, where do you think the highest density of slime girls would be? Yeah, but I'm like, because they are a mimic-based species, I'm at least gonna give them some learning capability. So I'm gonna say, yeah, toddler, a little higher maybe. I can see where he's coming from, but that was not the question I asked. Yeah. Yeah, because that is more of a question like, what would their role be in culture? That's more what you answered. I was thinking of a place that has high humidity. I can see why the question, but you kind of misunderstood the question there, Stitch. Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. That's now you're answering the question. I can Okay, yeah, I can find myself in that. I do have a follow-up question. Do you think they would be more closer to the coast or more inland? Personally, I think they would be found more inland, away from like the salty ocean wind. It depends on, because we haven't really settled on what like their chemical upbringing is. I'm just going with they definitely need a lot of moisture to keep the mucus flowing. So something that potentially could dry them out faster would be dangerous for them. Uh-huh. I actually can build on something that Stitch just said. Okay, so considering they do dissolve a lot of products, this can either be animal proteins, vegetable proteins, you name it, they will absorb it. So it is very likely that if they produce slime that they consider to be waste, like you can compare it to like a snake shedding or something, I can definitely picture that that can be used as a pretty good fertilizer. Why are we producing like waste skin though? Yeah, sometimes things just happen because of a fault. I'm just saying it is very likely that they can't really convert everything they dissolve in time. Yeah. Yeah. Part of it is to grow. Part of it is of course to be transformed into energy. And then there is going to be a percentage that is going to be waste. I'm going to say it's like a small percentage, but if they produce it or things get damaged, I can definitely see the slime just being pretty fertile to be used as nourishment for plants and crops. Yes. Yeah, the parts of the plants that we don't eat, like the roots, the if it's like bushes, the sticks and leaves. So if we're gonna give if the domesticated ones would get in a symbiotic relationship with farmers, the the rest sorry the additional slime that they don't really need could be used for fertilizers, which would then improve the crop yield, and some of that crop yield could have been given to the domestic slimes. Kind of like how we just took cats, had them hunt our rats, and we just provided them with shelter. Yes? Hmm. we haven't given you these ones. Okay. That is a good point. These ones are protected by an electric fence. Yeah, like I see the point there. So I'm trying to think of a counter argument, but yeah, if we're making them, yeah. Now, yeah, it is a form of relation. It's just not a very humane one to consider potential waifu's livestock. So yeah, that is a good point. No. Wait. That I can see, but that still kind of makes them livestock, just beasts of burden. I mean, I'm okay with making them... I'm okay with technically making them livestock. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the same as the farming one, just instead of shrubbery and things you pull out of the ground, it's just an orchard. The biggest difference you could potentially say here, Stitch, is the ones that live like in the sewers or alleyways, because those would definitely be more seen as things that help with sanitation. Honestly, I mean, we actually waste a lot of the usable nutrients, so technically they still would be getting a lot of nutrients out of the waste. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, that is honestly quite a bit considering how much food gets thrown out. That would be a cool. That would actually be a good indicator for like status in like more medieval cities. It either means you're prosperous or wasteful. You know, if it's domesticated slimes, then it's prosperous. If it's just feral slimes, then you're just throwing away food for no good reason. Wow, we only spent... It felt like we've been talking longer, but it's only been 20 minutes for culture. Huh. The domesticated ones would definitely be, like you said, more gentle towards sentient life. But considering we also made them livestock, that part makes me now kind of feel like, ugh. But on the other side, we did establish new goop equals more goop. Do you have any ways to not make them livestock then blackout? We have established they have a core. We established that they are technically hermaphrodite. We have ferals and domestics. Oh yeah, I was not gonna ignore that fact, but that is fair. That is kind of what I was trying to say, but then you said like, why would they? I mean, in this society, technically, we basically are just eating shit. Speaking of which, I kind of want to go to the McDonald's now. Okay. We need something that doesn't require sight. Remember, they're mostly seen with like electromagnetic waves. So... Oh, wait. Sorry, I'm eating something, but I also had to bring... I also had an idea. They would be like good at... They would be like great with like dowsing or kind of like investigations. Well, okay, not investigations. Investigation is not really the word that I'm looking for. No, I was not going to say forensic because they would eat the evidence. So they would make good criminal accomplices, but... I'm basically saying like they would be great for like soil control, like make quality control also. Okay, so yeah, they were. I'm trying to think of like how to say it in English. Okay, have you ever seen people in like they wear like either like yellow or orange vests, have one of those weird yellow tripods? They take like multiple samples of like the soil, of groundwater to make sure there's no like pollution going on. Yeah, they can definitely be taught how to differentiate between good quality and bad quality. So What is... I'm trying to think of the English word because I do know... I kind of know what I have in mind. I'm just trying to think of how to explain it. Surveyors! Thank you! You were kind of muffled here and there. It might be that you're just speaking. Yes. Yes. That is what I kind of was saying, right? But then we are on the same page, Stitch. Yes, yeah, I will admit I was kind of not being clear what I was trying to say. But yeah, honestly, it is a... Ooh! Go ahead. I am not saying no, I'm just trying to let the... I'm trying to let the logic sink in. They would be good at sound design, but I'm not sure if it would be like good music. Yeah, I don't think they would conduct sound that well. It is an interesting thought, though. Okay, spa services. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, rehabilitation, not so much. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, okay, and I'm gonna say... Okay, I do think they are very fire resistant because of the mucus. But I do think they would start to dry out pretty fast, but they would definitely last... Comparable to a lot of the beast codes, definitely like the top 5. No. Okay, so not necessarily firefighters, because that requires a lot of strength. But they would definitely be very helpful with rescue operations. Yeah, because they might not be fast, they might not be the strongest, but what I do think that with the senses that we've given them, they would make excellent trackers. And the fact that they are malleable enough to get in like small crevices, definitely great rescue operators with assistance of other races. No, I like yeah, because you are underestimating how much strength you actually build up while working in construction, and how much you actually need. 1 second, Stitch. I'm gonna send you a specific video. While I'm looking for that, you guys keep talking. Oh yeah, I was actually gonna suggest them being very antiseptic. It... I can see them being... having been used in older days as medicine, but... Yeah... I am okay with kinda... Like, I do always like the adaptability of slimes in games. Like, you might have metal slimes, you might have acid slimes, poison, medicine slimes. Like, I always loved that aesthetic. I will agree with that part. Yeah. From a livestock standpoint, I always like that aspect. Also, Stitch, this is the video I wanted to show you. Okay, not necessarily bandages, but they could be used to sterilize. Okay, so Stitch, to kind of give a better example so you understand. Not like bandages, but imagine they would be more like wet wipes. Yeah. I'll be honest, I was not expecting that we were gonna put slime girls in the health sector. Yeah, I just wasn't expecting it. Or Viking fucks girls. Elaborate, Stitch, before we start arguing. Ah, okay. Question: would Princess Bubblegum count as slime? I'm gonna say she's way too smart to be a slime girl. She's also a war criminal. Ah. Okay, so I do think that depending on the acidity, maybe, but we kind of made so that they mostly dissolve organic matter. Probably to a degree. Yeah, a lot of weapons actually have still their hand grips made of wood. Yeah. We're talking about swords. Yeah. But the handle part is what he asked. That part could. Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be fast, but they could to a degree. Yeah. Depends on the fabric, because wool, yes. Cotton, yeah. Spandex, no. Yeah. I mean, there's actually also a lot of real life assets that if you put like a spoon in, it immediately disintegrates. If you put your hand in, oh, I am fine. It is. Chemistry can be quite complex. Once again, depends on what the clothes are made of. If it's like a woolen jumper you got from grandma for Christmas, yeah, that jumper is gone. I'm actually gonna say yes a little bit, because they can choose to dissolve or not to dissolve. Yeah, so I do think they could like hold like, for example, I'm gonna say they are able to wear like a woolen jumper, but they would not be able to get like a stain out of a woolen jumper and leave the wool intact. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, wet wipes. They take away the fill. It's easier to get something off a human skin than it is out of a shirt. That too. Yeah. Yeah, they're so far we are, well, at least Stitch and I specifically kinda downplayed them to livestock. Like I said, That's just kind of how the show goes. But we also kind of found some good uses in healthcare and such. I also can see in like scholarly, or at least surveying methods. Oh, actually, they would actually make decent archaeology, decent archaeology assistants. Archaeology, more. Paleontology, it's gonna be risky, but I don't think they'll be able to dissolve. I don't think they'll be able to dig as much. Yeah, it did go underneath the mineralization. Okay, so I do agree with Stitch on this part. As soon as something becomes a fossil, it's actually no longer organic material. Okay, that is actually a good point there. I'm gonna say no to that one. That is working with the wood as directly as you can, Stitch. No. Yeah, remember, because they are not that strong, and you do need a certain amount of strength to break wood. Unless you're a woodpecker, then you need a certain amount of strength in a focused position. Fossils are. I mean, yeah, it is technically not the calcium part they dissolve in the bones, but like more like the marrow and kind of the binding. So it would probably break down. Actually, since we have decided that they can dissolve at will, and we also kind of made them good trackers, I do kind of see them being a good assistance in crime scenes, like finding evidence Not necessarily handling with it, but they would be good at finding the stuff. Taste it out. I mean, does the air taste like the victim? I'm gonna go over here. That is true. I'm just saying they would be decent at it. Yeah, it is a stretch, I will admit. Yeah, I'm just saying they would be able at it. Yeah. I still like that, to be honest. Anything else? Anything else we like to do? Because we did really succeed at keeping fantasy out of it so far. Oh. I mean, I did kind of say something they would be good at finding evidence. So, yeah. Oh god, cocaine slime. Coming to a cinema near you. It would not, but it would be fun to imagine. Honestly, it would probably end up like certain scenes in Akira. Yeah. Yeah, that is what this show is all about. Coming up with dumb shit that just kind of is like, I hate that I don't hate it. As a diet, I will say fruit makes a lot of sense. But then, to be fair, when we look at like diet and what they're suited for to hunt, then you get like pandas. Yes'nt! I still would lose to a fully grown panda, though. Yeah. You know, yeah, I'm gonna say slime growers are definitely one of the Wuchu waifu candidates that I could beat in a fight. If not at the bottom. No, technically a bottom feeder would be a top. Uh, you know what? Okay, so since you did bring up fairies as a power scaling, I'm gonna use an argument you fuckers keep using whenever I say, how the fuck does bug resist fighting? Have you tried punching a bug? I'm gonna say that a slime would be easier for me to deal with considering how nimble fairies are. Yeah. I know what I said. They still need to sit still for a bit. Oh, actually, a good question that we haven't really talked about. How see-through are slime girls? Okay, I'm willing to accept that. I don't really have a... I didn't have any reason, I was just curious what we're going with, because they're definitely not going to be at a full 100 gelatinous cube level of transparency. Hmm? Yeah, like, they are the most transparent things when it comes to slime lore. Yeah, but those aren't slimes or oozes. Yeah, they would become a little bit murky right after eating. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. We sometimes do it when we really, really are adamant about something, but most of the time we kind of like, you know what? It does kind of make sense. Yeah. Sometimes we just kind of go like, you know, this would be funny, and then we're like, yeah. Would I'm gonna say whistles, because whistle is probably is probably the easiest to kind of also change like the tone of. Yeah, they could probably just make like a couple of pockets of air and then just squeeze those out. No, that's something completely different. With whistling you just need a hole of a certain size. Yeah, okay, so like it is probably more like a melody you're teaching them, but let me actually show you how vocal cords work, Stitch. I'm trying to... One second, I'm trying to find... Okay, I don't find like a GIF with the vocal cords, so I have to actually go to my other source of biological stuff. Yeah, but it's actually a little bit of a specific control, and also the the texture of the vocal cords is also quite unique. So I'm just gonna send you an image real quick, Stitch. For the people listening along, feel free to just go to Google and type in how vocal cords work. The vocal cords isn't just one uniform flap. There's one part that is part cartilage that kinda gets moved around when it's open and not. Depending on how well trained yours is and how well it closes, you can make like different sounds, different notes. And considering how slimes are textured, they would not have the cellular variety to actually make vocal cords. Yes, but there's a difference between something just becoming denser and having different properties with how it bends. Yeah. So, yeah, vocal cords are sadly too complex for slime girls to make. That's why if you just look at like a static instrument with how the size of a hole is all that matters. I feel like I need to rephrase that, but honestly, I know what I was saying. The usual. I mean, that's the final question. Yeah. So, I'm gonna ask the usual question first to you two. Blackout, Stitch, what would you say your general rating for slime girls are and your waifu rating? Hmm? Okay, so okay, and has that changed? Has that changed before we started streaming? Fair enough. You were too prepared. That was your fault. But and waifu rating? Respectable. Yep. That is fair. Yeah. Okay. For me, a general rating is gonna be actually a little bit on the higher side because I see potential. And I'm gonna give them 7, 8 if I'm drunk. I know what I said. For the waifu rating, I'm gonna go a bit lower, honestly. I'm gonna go with... Okay, because this is a redo, I'm looking a little bit more positively at them, so I'm gonna up it to a 4. Alright. So to everyone who... before that, next time, what are we gonna do the fairy episode? Yeah, it's time to redo the last episode. But, to everyone who's still in chat, thanks for dropping in, thanks for dropping by. It has been fun. Bye-bye! Once again, the guy on the left bottom of me, that is Blackout. The person that is in the top left over there is Stitched Reels. Make sure to give him a follow too. He spells his Twitch name in a very annoying way, by the way. I still don't know why you have a second L in your name there, dude. I will never let that go. Why the fuck do you have a second L there? It's like the word llama, like, why the fuck is that L there? But... let's see who I see currently online. We have someone who is playing Digimon Masters. We have someone playing Silent Hill. I see someone playing some Pokemon. I see someone playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Super Robot Wars. Let's see, who haven't I rated in for a while? Let's rate into Ashy of Heart.